Welcome to my review of the Audi RS e-tron GT. Two things: red seatbelts always make a car go faster, and these videos look great on a 4K television. In the rush to electrify the automobile, there's concern that automakers will alienate a big swath of buyers. The growl of a gas engine is gone. There's the concern over range, or lack of it, and some EVs that are shaped by wind tunnel efficiency look, well, dorky. Want electrification that connects in a visceral way? The Audi e-tron GT is a passionate argument to ditch gasoline if you have the wallet. Without federal or state tax credits, the GT starts at just over $103,000. For the full enthusiast arm twist, move to this more powerful RS model that adds $40,000. And this one, equipped with the Year 1 package, will set you back another $20,000. Unlike the e-tron SUV, the GT here is based on the same architecture as the Porsche Taycan. Nothing wrong with that, it's one of my favorite vehicles ever. Porsche offers an awful lot of choice there: sedan, cross turismo, sport turismo, big battery, small battery, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. Audi, not nearly as much. It's always going to be a sedan, it's always going to have the big battery, and it's always going to have quattro all-wheel drive. Without going down the Porsche-Audi comparison rabbit hole, the standard e-tron GT measures up closely to the Taycan 4S. The RS is much like the Turbo. The Audi's power ratings are detuned ever so slightly, probably to keep the Porsche the top tier. Other competitors would be the various flavors of the Tesla Model S, Lucid Air, and let's throw in an affordable wild card, the Mustang Mach-E GT Performance. Just so you know, in boost mode, the standard e-tron GT will do the 0 to 60 dash in 3.9 seconds. The RS, 3.1 if you really need to get someplace quick. It's like your own personal space mountain. And just so you know, the standard e-tron's top speed is 152 miles an hour. This one, 155. It's a little bit faster, if that's really important. Doing the neck snapping is a platform familiar to Taycan fans. There's a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup with a 2-speed transmission in the rear. In boost mode, the more powerful RS e-tron GT can pump out 637 horsepower and 612 pound-feet of torque, plenty for trips to Whole Foods for organic soy milk and Impossible Burgers. The liquid-cooled lithium-ion pack has a usable rating of 84 kilowatt-hours. With its 800-volt architecture, GT can add 62 miles in 5 minutes in optimal conditions. More on that later. e-tron GT is the kind of car where your butt is actually the key. Well, actually, the fob is, but sitting down turns it on automatically. You can use the traditional start-stop button. Why would you do that? Just select drive or reverse and the e-tron wakes up and goes. The paddles adjust the amount of regeneration drag, nothing to do with the 2-speed. The Year 1 package adds 21-inch wheels and carbon ceramic binders. Audi Drive Select lets you tailor the dynamics to your liking, adjusting the firmness and height of the adaptive air suspension. Also, the sports sound. Hard acceleration or using launch control is where the seat of your pants will notice the 2-speed transmission shift. Otherwise, it's transparent. Audio is really hard to do inside of a car. This is the sports sound. Listen carefully. It's pretty good. Sounds like a really angry vacuum cleaner. And I mean that in a good way. Gas-powered performance cars have the throat we've all come to know and love, but that calls unwanted attention to any fun you might be having. The RS e-tron GT is a stealthy rocket. The chassis is girder solid. The e-tron GT fully delivers a grand touring experience. You'll look for excuses to drive it. Miles are effortlessly devoured, like Bud Light and Cheetos at a Super Bowl party. Turn off the sports sound, and the cabin is whisper quiet. You'd think that the low-profile tires would route sharp bumps directly to your spine? No, not really. For a larger, heavy performance car, gotta say the ride quality is pretty good. Yeah, when you hit some heaves, it does bounce up and down a bit, but overall, pretty good. There's not much worry when traveling long distances. Like Porsche, Audi sets its EPA estimate on the low side. Manufacturers can do that, or post optimistic numbers. e-tron underpromises and overdelivers. All right, let's talk about range. In a Porsche Taycan with a setup similar to this one, I've seen 280 miles. Now, the EPA rates this at 238. They're always very conservative, those Germans, and it's really cold out right now. I'm seeing about 220 miles. That's not bad, it's just above freezing. A cabin heat pump helps efficiency. I've been testing acceleration with launch control and hammering the RS as much as one prudently can on public roads, so that figure is impressive. And it's not as if the RS GT is a featherweight. EVs tend to be chunks. You do definitely feel the weight of the GT. It's just over 5,100 pounds, literally the same weight as a Chevy Silverado Trail Boss. Seriously, I looked it up. Still, the electric Audi tames corners effortlessly. Even on cold pavement, the Goodyear Eagle F1s offer grip for days. Equipped with upgraded dynamic power steering and rear wheel steering, you'll look for signs like this. There's really no body roll. Now, the hairs on the back of my neck feel that the Taycan is more telepathic in cornering and handling, but the Audi is more affordable, and it's essentially impossible to explore the lofty limits on public roads, without jail time anyways. Despite the heft, this thing is an absolute joy to chuck into a corner. Yeah, there is a little bit of understeer, but you would only really feel that on a track. In regular everyday driving, this thing is awesome. It's smart too. Set the Navi system to find a charging station and the battery conditions to an optimal temperature for fast charging. There's active aero with 2 positions. It raises even higher at 105 miles an hour, I've heard. One dynamic that's almost identical to the Porsche Taycan is braking regeneration. You really have to use the brake pedal. There is no one-pedal driving dynamic. Yeah, you can use the paddles to kind of adjust things, but it doesn't really make much of a difference. Kind of surprised a more aggressive setting isn't an option, if only for marketing. Clearly, the Volkswagen Group wants drivers engaged. FYI, when using the left pedal, nearly all of the stopping power is regen. The disc brakes aren't really used all that much. Remember, the e-tron GT is really, really heavy, over 5,100 pounds. Let's see if the brakes are up to the challenge. Oh yeah, these are terrific. And the modulation between regenerative braking and the actual physical disc brakes, excellent. All of the expected active electronic safety tech, like automatic emergency braking, is standard on e-tron GT. It gets more comprehensive, starting with the mid-grade Prestige model, adding active lane assist and traffic jam assist. Nothing like GM's hands-free Super Cruise, though. Visibility out the front and to the sides is pretty good. Rearward, it's awful. It's just a little slit. Good thing there's standard blind spot warning. Audi's reputation for exceptional interiors remains intact with the e-tron GT. There must be a dozen yards of Dinamica suede material in here. In performance and year 1 packages, matte finished carbon fiber replaces walnut veneer, adds crimson stitching all over too. Heated and vented Napa leather seats have a decent massage setting. Remember, $161,000. Even the bird's eye view camera has a trick or two up its sleeve. The only panel that doesn't look pricey is this. The plastic looks Mazda grade to my eye, but door pockets have lining to keep rattles down. Same with the center console, that's on the small side. RS models get a choice of glass or carbon fiber roof. The standard GT is glass only. Like many high-end automakers, Audi has natural voice prompts for the user interface using the prompt, "Hey Audi, I am looking for a burger."
Please wait one moment while I find destinations for you.
Burger King? I'm in an Audi and you're going to send me to Burger King? Once you get to the home of the Whopper, e-tron can park itself, even with the driver out of the car. Gripes? Well, the wireless charge pad in the console is cumbersome with the usual stuff stashed here. This grippy wheel doesn't get heat. Miss your old iPod? This track and volume wheel works okay, but can't be seen with a drink in the cup holder. Audi's MMI interface is easy to use with a row of shortcut buttons here and large colorful icons that are easy to read while driving. I did find that in some menus, the response gets a little wonky. There are the right amount of hard buttons. In some ways, I find the controls easier to use than Brother Taycan. And there's wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, though there were a few times that my phone simply didn't hook up, even when using the cord. The upgraded Bang & Olufsen 3D system is good stuff for the ears.
You don't look overly happy. It can't be that much different than a Porsche Taycan sedan back there.
That's supposed to be a good thing? We're both 5'9". I've got that much headroom, a little on the skimpy side. At least knee, leg, and foot room are okay, not overly generous. Door openings, as you can tell, a little bit on the small side. The cushions are high enough so that thigh support is okay. Not great, but fine. Door pockets are kind of small, but at least there are pockets, which is more than I can say about the seat backs. No pockets at all, just plastic, just like the Taycan. But hey, there's a separate climate zone back here and heated seats. The USB ports are mounted in the seats. This is not one of those EVs that has a super flat floor. That's quite a spine. Now, complaining aside, this is actually a comfortable space. It's just cozy. You wouldn't want to be any taller than me. And there are belts for 3, but the person in the middle should be really small. As I always say, keep it to 2 back here and people will be happy. Well, at least happier. Nearly 85% of EV charging is done at home. A full 240-volt level 2 fill takes a bit more than 10 hours. No big deal, you'll be sleeping. A driver's side port makes plugging in convenient. The passenger side port is for commercial fast charging. Using the most capable stations, the GT can soak up an 80% load in about 22 minutes. For traveling, the charging infrastructure is growing, but it's expensive. This is 4 times the cost of Seattle's residential rate. These 150 kilowatt-hour stations are pretty common. Starting this session with the pack at 50%, a full charge took about 40 minutes because of the charge curve. e-tron GTs is pretty good. Remember, a fully spent battery draws electricity faster. The rate slows as it fills. At 80%, it throttles back dramatically. While this took on electrons, I shot this sequence and did my grocery shopping. These stations are not always perfect. One of the terminals here has reduced its delivery to a maximum of 50 kilowatt hours. Sometimes they're out of order. Electrify America's app and the Audi's navigation system can flag those issues before you arrive and signal which are unused. Oh, and this is a great opportunity to show you that the e-tron's ambient lighting is terrific. It'll make you want to drive at night. The color can be changed. Charging at an EA station feels like being on the set of Tron.
The GT, loads of fun to drive. Practical? Brought out 6 packs of TP. That's kind of optimistic.
First off, there's no spare tire. There's a small spot to stash some stuff out of the way, plus some things that help organize the space. Sunscreen in Seattle in February. Now that's optimistic. Dropping the seats means opening the rear doors. There are no releases in the cargo hold at $161,000, but at least there's a way to carry long things. You can haul 2x4s with the GT. Other things you may not haul, this much TP, but being the size of carry-on luggage, you can easily get 4 in this 9.2 cubic foot space. I'll remind you that a gentle push is always allowed in this test. There's more storage up front. Good for the supplied travel charge cord when mooching electricity off friends and family. Another carry-on bag will not fit here at just under 2 cubes, and that's okay. Don't overpack. People love the styling. Low, wide, and intense, the broad shoulders give it a look that's as planted as a redwood. Audi's head of design, Mark Lischta, says the GT is the most beautiful car he's ever drawn. Strong words. This brand has produced some real art over the years. It's built in the same net carbon neutral factory as the R8 that uses wind, solar, and hydroelectricity. Fabrics and carpets come from recycled materials, so good eco vibes here. I wonder how the available body color nose panel would look. There's a lot of black up front. The only bit of Taycan my eye perceives is the rear flyline rake. Unlike Porsche, Audi doesn't offer motorized charge port doors, if that's a deal breaker. This one has Audi's laser light headlights that activates a laser spotlight at 43 miles an hour to double the reach of the high beams without annoying others. Time to sum up the e-tron GT with red light, green light. Green light. The performance and handling are remarkable. You'll want for nothing. e-tron lives up to its range and charging speed, especially if you can find high-speed stations. Audi design inside and out? I don't think I need to elaborate there. The RS GT's ability to swing from a comfortable everyday driver to a solid track romp is impressive. Yellow lights. The back seat takes on 3, but it's a snug proposition. MMI is easy to use. I found some sensitivity and connection issues. Fast charging is expensive, but typically that's only used on road trips and quick top-offs for reassurance. Red light. There's the price, especially as tested. The trunk is kind of small for a sedan this size, and the charging infrastructure isn't as robust as Tesla for those who travel often, but Elon claims he's opening up the network, so that could be a moot point. For bragging rights, the Model S Plaid is a skosh quicker. In real life, that's no big deal when the RS's acceleration borders on violent. And while the Lucid Air offers a loftier range, there are the issues surrounding a brand new car company. Lots of unknowns there. The e-tron is from a known company and perfectly crafted with no hint of quivers or squeaks.
So the question is, this or a Porsche Taycan? It's a personal thing. For me, the problem is coming up with the money. This is $161,000. Yikes.
For those with disposable income, this is a wonderful way to draw down the bank account. More prudent one-percenters will go for the standard e-tron GT in prestige trim for around $111,000. It's nicely equipped at that price, the GT sweet spot. The rest of us will have to admire from afar. One thing's for certain, the RS e-tron GT makes it easy to leave the gasoline lifestyle behind. I'm on record that I'll probably never buy a new gas-powered car. I simply find EVs more compelling with a lot of benefits. The 3 or 4 long trips that I take every year aren't a problem when traveling on the main highways. EVs aren't for everyone, though. If you live in a rural area or an apartment, that's an infrastructure issue that must be addressed. But those that can afford the e-tron GT probably own a home and have enough money to install level 2 charging, and I believe that's critical for the EV experience. This station is at Magnuson Park in Seattle. I charged while on a run. It's operated by Greenlots, that's rebranding itself as Shell Recharge. Yep, the same Shell you gas up at. It's less expensive than Electrify America, even more so off-peak. And see that guy with his phone? The e-tron saw a lot of that action in the week that I had it. Oh, and while there were 2 stations, only one was working. On my boutique video channel, I have as much fun shooting and editing these videos as I do exploring and researching the cars. My goal is to make you feel like you're experiencing the vehicle with me, even if it's a Chevy Spark or Nissan Versa, because, you know, it's your money. And I'll never waste your time because I hate when people waste mine. And might as well make the information enjoyable. They really do look great on 4K TVs.
As always, I would like to say thank you to Martin Campbell. I always surprise him like this. I never tell him I'm going to do this. He's kind of camera shy. This is the end where I normally give you a fun fact, but I'll admit I don't really have any new fun facts for Audi. I'll remind you that the rings are representative of the 4 companies that came together to become Audi, and that the name Audi means listen in Latin. So does Horst. August Horst is the guy that started Audi. He couldn't use his own name because another car company was using it. And I'll remind you that you guys are the best followers on YouTube. I really mean it. When I go to events, other auto writers ask me if I edit the comments, and I don't. You guys are just that good and that smart. So keep it up. You guys are awesome. If you haven't subscribed, become part of the club, okay? And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments or get a hold of me on Twitter. I'm pretty active there. Thanks for watching. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.